So there are a couple of different names for angles that we use in geometry that you're going to use all throughout the future of geometry. And the first one that I want to talk about are adjacent angles. So you may have seen the term adjacent in the past, but maybe not in the terms of angles. So if we have a given angle here, I'm just going to sketch something out. And let's say we're given a ray here, and we'll label this ray B, and then another point here is C, and then another ray here, and then we'll label this ray with a point A. Okay, so we have two rays. We have ray BA and ray BC. Now, these angles, this angle here, and then I'll put one more point here, D. So these angles, this angle here and this angle here, are considered to be adjacent. They are right next to each other, they're side by side, they are adjacent angles. And continuing from this, let's say that we're given that this angle DBA is 40 degrees, and let's say that we're given that this angle ABC is 50 degrees. Well, if we have the measure of angle DBA is 40 degrees, and the measure of angle ABC is 50 degrees, then we can say that these two angles are complementary. So angle DBA and angle ABC are complementary. So maybe you have already guessed what this indicates, but that indicates that the two angles, when summed, are 90 degrees. So the measure of angle DBA plus the measure of angle ABC is equal to 90 degrees. So this means that they are complementary. Okay. So the other thing that we can assume from this is if this angle here, ABC, is 50 degrees, and then they sum, the two angles sum to 90 degrees, then we can say that ray, or we'll say line segment DB is perpendicular to line segment BC. And how would we write this? So the notation that we would actually write for this is if we had ray BD, and then we can say is perpendicular to ray BC. So you can write this either way. Both are true. So this indicates to us now that we have a right angle, and we can mark that here by doing a tiny little box right here. So that means that angle DBC is a right angle. So angle DBC is a right angle. All right, so the next term that we want to look at are supplementary angles. So if I'm given an angle here, And let's say this is angle X, Y, Z. And let's say that this angle is 60 degrees. The measure of the angle is 60 degrees. And then let's say that I'm given another angle. And we'll label this M, N, O. And we'll say that this angle is 120 degrees. Okay, so if we're given these two measures, 120 degrees and 60 degrees, you probably assume by now that the sum of them is 180 degrees, and that indicates that we have supplementary angles. So the measure of angle XYZ plus the measure of angle MNO is equal to 180 degrees. So they are supplementary angles. I'm just going to do that. Okay. So the last one, and maybe it seems a little bit intuitive, but if we're given an angle that looks something like this, oh, that could be straighter, but let's assume that's a straight line. Okay, and then we label this A, B, C, D. Angle DBC is called a straight angle. So if we're trying to indicate an angle that is 180 degrees, or essentially a line, we can call that a straight angle.